This next one I have less of a strong take on. It's effectively the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. So, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins. Each one of those guys effectively plays second fiddle in their offense, but is in their own right an extremely high-level elite wide receiver. If you can only pick one, who are you picking and why?
Chris Godwin. This is extremely difficult between these 3 guys. I'd take Waddle. I would take Jalen Waddle, and the reason why is because it's more of a what Jalen Waddle brings to the table than trying to take away anything from Devontae Smith and T. Higgins, who are 2 phenomenal receivers and could be wide receiver 1s elsewhere in the league if they were on different teams. Waddle, though, in a similar light to how we talked about Tyreek Hill when making a case for him to be the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, Waddle's element of speed is just different. I mean, this guy, when we talk about having a top gear, he has top gear and then NOS attached to it. Like that's the type of speed that we're working with here. And I feel as though during his time at Alabama, and I think early on in his time in the NFL, he really only was able to utilize that to its maximum potential as yards after the catch. When you get the ball in your hands, then he could really let loose, pin his ears back as pass rushers do, and just run as fast as possible. Now I think he's bringing close to that type of speed to his route running. And, you're, of course, like, you're probably only using 100% of it when you're getting vertical up the field, whether you're in the outside or in the slot. But, like, there are times when I feel like his route running is just even more sped up now than it was early on in his career. And that, when you are using Jalen Waddle's speedometer, if you will, that creates so much natural separation. That makes you an extremely difficult player to cover because, one, you are always threatening vertically. You are demanding of whatever corner is in front of you at any moment. I could shuffle my feet, shimmy my shoulders, fake to the right, go to the left, and if I get even with you within the first 2 or 3 steps of my route, you are toast. I am about to create 3 or 4 yards of separation from you. I don't care where you went to college. I don't care what track you ran in high school. You're not keeping up with Jalen Waddle. So because of that unique athletic gift, true elite top speed, I would give it to Waddle as my choice for that number 2.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning in the same direction. So coming out, what's interesting is I think, to me, T. Higgins is the clear third guy on this list. Now, I think they're all close.
Clear third. I don't know if I'd go that far.
I think Devontae and Jalen Waddle are both higher than T. Higgins are, because I think they win in more ways. Both of them do. Now, what was interesting to me is, obviously, Waddle and Devontae Smith came out the same year, and I thought Devontae Smith was a clearly better wide receiver at draft time than Jalen Waddle. I thought he was a significantly better receiver in college and therefore is a better prospect. Now, in the NFL, what you have is the difficulty in trying to sort of extricate each guy from their individual circumstance, right? What's been really impressive to me for Jalen Waddle is that he's now been deployed in 2 completely different ways within that Miami offense, because the offense changed and the circumstances changed, and Tyreek Hill came in and Mike McDaniel came in. So year 1 for Jalen Waddle, like, my concern with him coming out is when you look at his college tape, almost everything is from the slot against corners or DBs playing a mile off. Like, he just had all the space in the world to work from, right? And when you're really fast, that's like a cheat code. Like, of course he's going to have huge production and huge numbers and huge explosive plays because he's not facing any kind of difficult scenario. Year 1, you saw a lot of, like, what that would look like if you're trying to feed that guy a lot of high volume stuff, right? So he actually did play wide quite a lot. Like, more than a third of his snaps year 1 were played out wide, but almost all the time when they were in that situation, he was running like a shallow drag or one of those sort of whip routes, the in-out type deals where you're just trying to get him open laterally quickly. So it didn't really matter that he's on the outside where you can be potentially bump covered and given jams and press to the line, all that kind of stuff. And then you had all the slot stuff, which played. So his average depth of target that year was 7, which is pretty low. All the stuff was short, but it was really high volume. He had, 138 targets, 100 catches, all those kinds of things. And he was good at that. Like, the ball in his hands, run after the catch, he's fast, it's all good. Year 2, when Tyreek Hill comes in, now Jalen Waddle becomes like a vertical threat, and you start pushing him down the field more and take advantage of all the gravity that Tyreek Hill is having on a defense. We know how much Tyreek Hill completely changes coverages. Well, now you have like one of the fastest receivers in the NFL to take advantage of that space, and his average depth of target almost doubles. It goes up to 12.2 this most recent season. Mm-hmm. He becomes way more of a big play guy, and I think sort of shows like that versatility. On the flip side, you've got Devontae Smith, who is still one of the best route runners in the game, at the NFL level versus college. Still has incredible body control, still has great hands. All the stuff he was good at in college, he's still good at the NFL. But you do have that lingering question over how good can he be against physical coverage. And year 1, that was the sort of one question that was left from his rookie season. And year 2, they kind of skirted around it by bringing in A.J. Brown and just sort of taking those plays away from him. So I'm still left with a little bit of a lingering question of, if he was your number 1 guy, if he wasn't a number 2, and he had to deal with that again, would he still be the best of this trio? I think as a number 2, he's got an argument. But if he has to be the number 1 guy, I don't know if you can let him do that, whereas I think you probably can do it or find a way of doing it with Jalen Waddle, and then T. Higgins, his sort of quote-unquote deficiencies are in different areas.
See, that's why I think I'd have T at 2. I think I would go Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith. I have less concerns about T. Higgins.
I mean, obviously he can deal with physicality. That's his game. But I think Devontae Smith is a significantly better route runner. I think he's as good in terms of body control. It's just at a smaller size. Man, I think he's a better receiver across the board, but he just potentially loses out with that physicality question mark.
Needs a big question mark, though. But that's how I'd rank him. I'd go Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, and Devontae. I'd clearly have Jalen at 1. And then it's a toss-up to me for who would be 2.